Hey there, so today we have another beer talk, and this is about the word balance in beer. Someone posted in the comments and asked me to make a video about this, so if you have any suggestions, please post in the comments below. So what is balance? Word balance. So first off, I'm going to be talking a little bit about what balance pretty much means and what it can mean in the world of beer, and also my general opinion about that. So first off, my general opinion is that I think it's a crutch of a word and you should avoid using it, but we're going to dig into that later. So what is balance? And one of the ways you can talk about balance in beer is to look at one of the important beer books out there. And if you don't already have this one, please get it. There's also a new edition out there, so I don't even have that one. But if you go to page 72, I believe, of Randy Mosher's Tasting Beer, you will see a very useful graph. And it's actually a graph that really helped me learn about beer when I was teaching myself about beer early on. And it's this graph. And you might not be able to see all the details, but pretty much what we have here is IBUs, so the objective amount of bitterness that you have in beer. So that's the x-axis. And then you have the y-axis, which is original gravity, or the amount of sugar that you've extracted out of the malt into the beer. So it's sort of like bitterness, malt balance. And so that's one objective way you can sort of compare a beer. So when we talk about something like a Doppelbock, that's going to be low in bitterness but quite high in gravity. So that's going to be decently sweet. So there you go on one side of not balanced. And then you go all the way on the other side and you have something like American IPA. American IPA is going to have a ton of IBUs, not that much gravity or sweetness or alcohol to it. So you're going to have a lot of bitterness. So you sort of have the bitterness of one spectrum, not balanced, if you want to say it that way, and then Doppelbock, which is sweet and not balanced. So this is sort of one objective standard that you can use to sort of talk about balance. And what is balance? So generally, you're going to be talking about malt and hops, so bitterness and sweetness. And then also, you can incorporate the other ingredients into beer. So how much is the yeast contributing to the flavor of the beer? So that's also involved in balance. And also, what is the water profile? How much of the water profile do you taste in the beer? And so we're talking about the 4 ingredients of beer. And then you can also talk about the additional ingredients that a brewer might use, any fruits or different kind of malts, grains they might use in a beer. And you talk about all those ingredients, and you sort of calculate those in your head, and then you find a middle ground where you have balance. So that's just an objective way to talk about it. And I personally don't really like talking about beer that way because it is a crutch of a word. So I learned this actually from experimental homebrewing, and when Denny and Drew interview a brewer, they say, tell us about your brewery and your beer without using the word balance. And this really forces a brewer to talk a little bit more about their beer and use more vocabulary than simply the word balance. Because I have listened to podcasts and interviews where they allow the brewer to use whatever their words they want, and they just always use the word balance. We have 7,000 breweries in this country. You think everybody's making balanced beer? I mean, listen to me. I thought craft beer was interesting. Everybody's making balanced beer? There is no way. So that's not to say that brewers are not making balanced beer, but what is your definition of balance? I want to hear that. And this is how we were taught to write. Simply writing one sentence with a statement is not enough, because you have to say why. I'm going to say the car is red. Why? Johnny walked down the street. Why? And that why is the story I want to hear. So if you're going to use the word balance, this beer is balanced, give me another sentence next to it. Or use other words in that sentence. This beer is balanced because of this malt and this hopping and the flavors of this. And it reminds me of this. And that's where I think balance can really be used well. So if you're going to use the word balance, give me another sentence, give me another paragraph, give me a full page of an explanation about a beer. And that's where you really get to use your knowledge and teach yourself about beer. You know, we're almost up to 2,000 reviews here for myself, and I still think of myself as somebody that can always explain beer better. I can always learn more about my palate, train myself to have a better palate, and also express it in a better way with more words, more vocabulary, and simply sticking to a word like balance is not going to get me there. And so I hope for you guys, that's what you guys do. So I hope that this is a lesson out there for you to not use the word balanced, but if you do, use some other words with it. And I really hope you guys learn a better palate, learn a better vocabulary, learn more about beer, and really hope to appreciate more beer with that. So if you guys want to find some more resources about that, please post in the comments below. I'm willing to help you out. But that's sort of my take on balance, because you can talk about balance being this and that and this and that, and there are some objective standards talking about what balance is, but balance is different for everybody. And what's not different for everybody is the journey of learning about beer and using other words to tell us about beer and communicating that difference, and then hopefully enjoying beer more. And balance can be a crutch word. So I hope that helps you give a little bit of opinion about what I think about the word. But yeah, this is more about the enjoyment and education about beer. So I really hope that that's the lesson here. Until next time, guys. Cheers. Later.